Hello, dearest. Welcome to yet another episode of Girl in the World podcast. My name is Claudia Auro, Timeless Oversharer, aka your host, and my own self declared explorer. So, I'm really grateful to have you here today again. And if it's your first time, I hope that you'll be back here again and again and again. Interact with me on social media at Girl in the World podcast, Instagram, and TikTok, or on my personal account at claudia.auro, that is CLAUDIA.AORO. And let's have fun, let's live. Today, I am talking about solo dates. This is a practice that I've had from last year mostly. Yeah, I've done most of it from last year. That's when I started, and I gave myself I made it a rule for myself to go on at least one solo date every month. And I can say I have followed this religiously, and I've been able to do even more than that in like various months. So, I've had a few conversations with my friends or just random people, and they've asked me before, "What do you do on solo dates, and how do you start going on solo dates?" So I actually just got back to the house right now from a solo date, my first one of this year, 2024. And yeah, it was rather nice. I don't know. Usually, I feel like my voice is all too rowdy and all. I'm just too loud, and I don't know if you can tell how calm I feel right now. I feel really calm. I kind of feel like I sound calm as well. That is the kind of that's the kind of peace that I get from going on solo dates. Because for me, it is not just not having anything to do and deciding to go do something, but there isn't anyone to do it with, so you just go do it alone. No, I'm talking about solo dates as an intentional practice where it is not a second or like a backup plan that you come up with when nobody else wants to go do something with you, but it is the ultimate main plan when you just give time to yourself and for yourself, just to feel yourself, to I don't know. It is more of a feeling for me, and I doubt I might have the most perfect words to describe exactly what solo dates are for me. But I can say it is a form of therapy. Yeah, personally, for me, it is a form of therapy. So, how do you start going on solo dates? I I would say the first times that I started, I really didn't make it an intentional goal of, okay, this is something I will be doing. It started out as, I see something nice, and then, well, I may make a lot of noise online and whatever, but uh, at the end of the day, I really just like to do things alone. I just like, of course, there is that good thing about hanging out with people and all, but when it comes down to what I would prefer the most, I think it is just way less pressure to only entertain myself out there. So it just started out as something I do because I really don't feel like seeing people, or I don't feel like, interacting with anybody else. But at the same time, I do not want to stay indoors. I want to go out and do something. So it was an unintentional start of something that was going to be one of the most important parts of therapy for me. that is how I started. And then I realized that, oh, wow, there is something really special about, just being alone in, just the peacefulness of my head only. There are other people in the surrounding, but not having any expectations of, talking to other people, interacting with other people. When you are meeting up with others, there is the constant attempt to, be entertaining or be engaging, be social. But when you are alone, you can just have the peace of, just feeling exactly everything that you like, having your brain run on your own terms. Okay, maybe I'm blubbering a bit, but I swear it sounds so much simpler in my head. It's just the words to describe all of it that's a little challenging. But yeah, that's just about it. And then when I discovered, okay, now this is turning out to be something I actually like, that's when I started to do it more often. And then now put it upon myself to be doing it as often as I can. So, what I do on solo dates, you'd be surprised because some people have all these ideas lined up for, if I am able to, like, if I am to go outside and not have people around me, I have to get this huge activities. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. It ends up being a more stressful moment than a calming situation for you. So when I am going out, if it is not an activity, say an engaging activity, I do not make any plans. I do not think about what I am going to do when I'm out there. I just go with my brain totally blank, and I just sit and I don't know. I sit and do nothing. Sometimes I would say I'm not even thinking when I am doing that. I mean, say let's give an example of, say I went to dinner on my own, or maybe lunch or something. This is solo date in terms of, say, a food date with yourself. So of course you can do the eating and all, oh, you're enjoying your food, yada yada yada. But you could be thinking of so many things. You could be thinking, oh, this person told me this and this. I haven't done this. I haven't done this. Now you see that takes away it takes away the special part of just breathing in and out and just being at peace with yourself. So I really do not know how to give a specific description of how to go about it, but my best experience of solo date is just shutting my brain and relaxing. You can do this at home, but it's not the same at home as, when you can shut your brain in the middle of a place with other people and other things going on. And then for other activities where I have to be more engaged, it's even that's even better, because now you get to practice something, you get to do something that you personally enjoy, and you get to do it alone in your own company. You get to actually feel all of it. Maybe other people, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, because I understand that other people prefer to have company while doing certain things. But this is just on like my own perspective, because there are other things that I would rather be doing alone than be doing with other people. I remember one of the very first times that I decided to do solo dates intentionally. I went to the, do you call it a theme park? the theme park at Two Rivers. Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly. The one with the Ferris wheel, the slides. It mostly seems like a children's park, but then there are always adults there. So that's one thing there. I would say that's one of the best engaging solo dates I did. And I went there alone. I got on all these rides. First of all, I did the Ferris wheel. When I actually, this was actually a big realization on that day. I thought it was like the scary Ferris wheel because I hadn't really been to the theme park before that day, and I really did not frequent to Rivers that often back then. So I really did not know what to expect. When I thought of that Ferris wheel, I thought it was, the one that goes round really hard and you people are screaming and doing whatever. And then I got there and it was moving at like 5 kilometers per hour, and I was like, okay, now what is this? But yeah, that part was only good for the views. And then yeah, I did the water slides, and then I did the drop down tower, and that was absolutely the best thing because there was really good adrenaline over there. And the drop down tower went all the way up so high, and then it dropped you like at, like a free fall, and then you get caught up somewhere in between. You go all the way down on a free fall again. And the first time I did it twice. The first time it was just me, no one else was on the line for that one, so I did it all alone. And at first I was scared, but then I got used to it, and it was really really awesome. And so much that I signed up for it a second time, and this time there were lots of people around me. Everyone, like, all the gaps were filled, all the spaces were filled all over there, and everyone around me was screaming and shouting, but to me it was seeming like, oh my gosh, this is redemption. This is redemption. And then that ride was over, and I got out of my seat, and there were a bunch of people in a line over there. And I noticed, because I started skipping away. That is how amazing I felt, experiencing all that adrenaline without any pressure of, just doing it for myself, feeling things for myself. And I remember a few people looked at me, and others were looking surprised, but other people were like, they were smiling, like, oh my gosh, that seems like she had a really great time. And at that very moment, when I saw the faces of, other people when they were staring at me, and I realized, oh my gosh, I was skipping. And I just realized at that very moment that I totally, totally love, I really, really do love being myself. I just love doing things that I like without any pressure on myself. And I am going to be doing this way more often. Way, way more often. So that was a point of realization for me as well. Oh, and now for engaging other engaging solo dates. Other times I go to comedy shows, because who does not want to laugh? And everyone's listening to the comedian up on the stage. Everyone's having a good time. Nobody really cares. Okay, this, and this. Like, who is that? Who is this? Another thing I hear people worry about is, what will people say if they just see me sitting alone somewhere without company, or like, are they gonna think I'm some sad, lonely person? I did think about this at some point. Okay, it was a really short thought, but I still thought about it, and I just realized it really does not make any difference at all, because at the end of the day, mostly everyone that's looking at you is a stranger. It's not like you're going to get out of that space and you're gonna see them all the way beside you, on your ride back home, or you're gonna see them tomorrow. I mean, you might bump into, it might be the biggest coincidence bumping into a stranger on a different occasion. Or maybe someone, maybe an old friend, whoever that knows you might catch a glimpse of you out there. But really, it shouldn't be anything that is worrying to spend time alone and be seen spending time alone. This is a practice that, if you want to totally feel at your highest while doing it, you first have to accept that you're doing it for yourself. And a very important thing to note: when you are going on solo dates, do not have the expectation of meeting people at all. Do not have an expectation of meeting new people or making friends. Like, okay, sometimes you might go out, you might do something alone, and then you end up meeting somebody else who's also doing something alone, or you end up meeting a group of people that were doing the same thing, and the vibe is just good, so you end up talking, which is really good. You make friends, you interact, you're social, but do not make it an expectation to meet people and interact with them when you are planning to go out on a solo date. Because this creates the ideology that this is not for you anymore, and you're just trying to catch somebody else's attention. And when you put this in your head, and then say you don't have any conversations with anybody else when you get over there, at the end of that date, it's going to be more disappointing than rejuvenating for you, because your main expectation has not been reached. You expected to see people, to get attention from someone, and to talk to people, and that did not happen. So your entire mood gets shattered, because you feel like there's just something that I did not achieve something during this date. So that is something that you should totally take note of when you are diving way more into going on solo dates. You're not going to meet people. Okay, you might, but it do not go to meet people. Just go to meet every other aspect of yourself. And it's just going to become way better each and every other time. And I have seen other people also do various activities on solo dates. Other people enjoy reading, other people enjoy listening to music. I've seen people watch movies, something like that. I mean, t- every everybody just, you do whatever you feel best to do at that very moment. It's just personally, it is more of a relaxing session for me. So I don't use it to focus too much on something specific. I use it more of, like a thought free process, or maybe a meditative sort of process. So if you feel more comfortable, also, like, maybe say you're starting out and you're a little bit too confused of about what to do, or like just sitting there doing nothing, you definitely can carry a book, you can listen to music, you can watch something. It's just another thing I would say, I try as much as possible not to do is stay on my phone too much when I am on a solo date. So this is a no screen time for me. It's I use it absolutely for myself. I totally ignore the outside world when I am having this process. And you might be very tempted to be on your phone almost the entire time, especially if it's not anything engaging. because you're just going to be there and staring around, and then okay, you open Instagram, you open TikTok, you start to do this. You do realize when you are doing this, you're not totally feeling yourself. You're not immersing yourself in your feelings alone, but you're consuming from other people's lives. When you're watching different people's content and all that, instead of having a moment for yourself, you end up consuming other people's lives during the time that you have set up to be for yourself only. So I mean, you can say something, you can talk to people, stuff like that. Maybe a text here and there if maybe it was something important, but then it shouldn't be a top priority to speak to other people when you're intending to spend time alone. Because if you wanted to have an entire group chat, you could have stayed home and done that from your bed or at the mall or met with people. Also, okay, these are just my ideas. Other people might prefer to do other things because we have different personalities, we prefer different things. So if maybe you're the type of person who a solo date would consist of maybe a group call with friends or whatever, you can absolutely do that. But yeah, maybe it will be called something else and not a solo date. But the moment that you decide to spend time with yourself, I highly recommend that you make it only about yourself so that you can feel the utmost comfort just not having any sort of interaction with anybody else. And another thing I would say is very helpful towards this is you can time yourself, give yourself would I say, like, give yourself a schedule that you're supposed to follow when you do your solo dates. So you might decide, okay, my solo dates are going to last 2 hours or 3 hours, so that when you go somewhere, you don't just sit around and you keep looking at the time, you're wondering, okay, I have been silent for this amount of time, I have been silent for this amount of time. At first it could definitely be a constant thought that you'll have. Like, okay, I've been sitting here for this amount of time, when is the appropriate time that even people around me will think, okay, what is she doing, when is she going to leave, something like that. But I can say the biggest recipe to being the most comfortable during solo dates is just not thinking about other people, their feelings, their whatever they're feeling about you specifically. Like, any opinions that they might have of you, you have to absolutely crush that out and take that out of your thought process totally, because this is the moment where when you perfect that, you start to do this more for yourself. So you can have a set period of time. Say, maybe, okay, say you were eating out alone, and I mean, you really cannot time your eating periods and anything like that. But you can set aside a time and say, okay, I will give 30 minutes to meditating and just thinking about, say, or just thinking about, maybe a goal that you have for your life, something that you're thinking about. You can also use it as a moment to plan out your life, do maybe a vision board, wherever, that moment. I'm sure everyone at some point, you have some goals, and it reaches a certain point where you think more about them and how you plan to achieve them to a certain level. So you might also take this time to be more proactive in realizing if the methods that you've been using have been working and what more you need to do to make it work even better, and what you also need to do less so as to make your goal more achievable. So everything, everything, it's all about giving yourself as much less pressure as possible. Take away any sort of pressure. Do not put yourself on a pedestal of, oh, this I need to do this, I need to do this for it. Take solo dates as an absolute moment to relax outside of your house while doing something that you enjoy, and it's going to feel way more comfortable and way more enjoyable to do them than when you felt even before.